Hello, everybody. It is Rebecca Veksler here, the founder of Soul Cups, and we are up to episode 11 of our Plastic Free July Sustainable Speaker Series. It's going to be a fun one today. I'm super excited because we get to talk all things kids. We get to talk about online shopping, eco-conscious clothing, and what it means to actually run a business in the kids space and also be sustainable at the same time. I think the premise of this entire story is that children are our future and we must make better choices as adults, as parents, as consumers in how we start dressing and buying for our children from the very beginning. And it also helps in basically the baseline and the foundation of mindset. If we start young and we start educating young, then hopefully as adults, we begin to make better choices when it comes to basically everything. Consumerism is everything. And I think this wonderful business is a really great foundation and standard of how we should be producing clothes and products and goods for the children in our life. The founders of Tomorrow Kids are some exceptional humans. You might find them a little bit familiar. Maybe you've seen them on TV, but I know them as some very, very beautiful and heartwarming people, and I'm so excited to be joined by Matty, one of the founders of Tomorrow Kids, along with his beautiful wife Sarah. And yeah, we can just dive deep into this incredible conversation. So I'm gonna get Matty on. I think they're supposed to be joining me from the Tomorrow Kids Instagram. Let me see. It's gonna be super fun. I'm excited to talk about kids. It's definitely making me clucky, that's for sure. I love it. Hopefully Matty joins us in a second. I am just going to check that he's coming from the right account. Hold on. And don't be shy, guys, to get involved and ask questions as we chat. I'm sure there's going to come up with a few little requests there. But we seem to be having technical issues. Let me just check in. Hold on. Matty, you're here. Hold on. Let me see if I can send you a request again. Sometimes if your app isn't up to date, it might not let you. But hold on. We might have to start this again, guys.
Hey, we're good.
Ooh, we did it.
Yes.
Yay.
Jeez, you had me worried there for a second.
I had me worried.
I've got the up-to-date version, I promise. I've followed the instructions.
You are all good. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I know it's a little bit hard to take time out when you've got a little one running around.
I want to apologize that Sarah and Malik aren't here. Well, they are. They're behind me somewhere. But given the circumstance now, we don't have Malik in daycare anymore, so he won't sit still. I can assure you for more than 2 minutes. So I'll be handling.
I'm all about it. If he decides to run through, it's all right. It makes it more fun. I'm just so happy to chat to you because this is such a beautiful story. It's such a wonderful brand, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to share it with as many people as possible, because the whole point of this series that I'm running is about being a platform for education and inspiration and, you know, just accessing more people with some beautiful stories, and hopefully we can inspire them to make some better choices. So for those of you that don't know, can you run us through a little bit about your beautiful brand, and don't skimp on the details, and
Sure.
tell us the acronym as well, because I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, thanks for having me. First and foremost, this is a great opportunity to just talk to someone. We've been in lockdown for how long now? So it's nice just to be talking to someone. That's great. Um, so Tomorrow Kids was started by my wife Sarah and I. It's spelt TMRW, which is today must right our wrongs, and it's about having a bit more of an optimistic future. Our kids give us that optimistic future. Every time I look at my son, I pray that, his view on the world is very different to my generation, and even more so the generation before mine, because, the future is in their hands. We know that if we keep doing
Literally.
the same thing that our previous generations have, we're not going to have much of a planet left. And we wanted it to have that message. We wanted it to be about, dressing the kids of the future, and having an eco-conscious business that my son can be proud of, and that one day can become his as well. So that's kind of a little bit of background around the name. Why did we start it? I think eco-conscious businesses like yours, like ours, they're they're growing, and people have an interest in them. And I genuinely think the world is starting to gravitate towards a business like ours. And Sarah and I were very conscious of trying to do the right thing where we can. It's not about being perfect, but we've always been inclined to support eco-conscious businesses. And as soon as we had our son, we realized that there are so many amazing brands in Australia who are doing it. And they had great clothing. There was no reason for us to be going and looking at the mass-produced stuff, because we genuinely just actually loved the style, loved their businesses, that most of them were Aussie. But the one thing we found were that it was quite laborious being time poor parents to go to 50 different boutique websites and shop with them. And sometimes ease of transaction is enough for someone to go, you know what, I'm just going to go to that big site that's got 100 different things. I'm just going to order it all from there. I'm a time poor parent. I've got enough problems, and that's fair enough. So we felt that, and we're like, man, we've got 50 great labels bookmarked on our browser, and it's got to be an easier way. And so we just wanted to make it easier for parents who are like Sarah and us, who love these Aussie labels, that love these eco-conscious labels, and to go to one place and put them under one roof and make it really easy, pay one shipping cost, and support those businesses in the one place. So that's really as deep as the idea came from. It was our own experience, and like many other parents, you become a parent, and it's like the previous 30 or whatever years of your life didn't exist. Your mind is blown by all these new things and all these new problems that you're having as a parent. So, and a lot of businesses are started off the back of becoming a parent, and ours was no different. We had this light bulb moment with, this needs to be easier. And I think e-commerce, specifically around children's clothing and accessories, is quite immature in this market. So we thought there was an opportunity to provide something a little bit better than what existed.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. Like, I think it's an industry that's forgotten about. My brother has 3 kids, and obviously being someone personally who's always going to be thinking sustainably and eco, like, I'm trying to find things for them as the good auntie, and it's impossible. There's really limited products and brands in a holistic view that are, like you said, providing in one location. Otherwise, I have to spend 3 days, and I'm not a parent, but I'm still time poor. And as you know, most successful businesses these days are started to solve based on solving a problem, right?
Totally.
And exactly what's happened to you too. You both, you've literally gone, shit, we're parents now. Here's 20 million things that I now have to think about that I never had to think about. And you've done a marvelous job at helping and solve those issues. But you've also laid a foundation of the kind of standards we should be meeting when it comes to producing any kind of brand in any industry. And that's that holistic view of, how are the products produced, how are they shipped, how are they manufactured, the materials, everything in between. So, I mean, Matty, there's so many things we can talk about, from how you source and how you design. But what I do want to start with is just on a personal level, right? You and Sarah have probably gone through such a journey of learning. You know, you're starting to go down this rabbit hole of being more sustainable. So can you give us a little bit of like, what have you learned? Like, what's the most glorified sort of experience you've had that has you've gone through, and then what is some advice to anyone who's sort of just starting out on that journey?
Yeah, I think what we've learned is that trying to be perfect can be really
Exhausting.
what's exhausting. Yeah, and it can cause procrastination. It can cause people to not do anything at all. And so, our biggest advice is, don't try to be perfect. Just try to take small steps. Do one thing better, and then that becomes two things better, and then three things better. We were very overwhelmed with the industry and
Yeah.
learning everything about it and wanting to make sure everything was perfect. And we realized that perfect just didn't exist, and that's okay. We just need to try to be better each week and each month. And as our resources get higher, to then increase what we're able to do, and have a harder stance on some things as well, where we then can invest in. And so, yeah, it's make a start. That's my biggest advice to anyone who wants to get in this space. Make a start. Where you can, obviously do your research and get help. All our packaging is 100% plastic free. And if you look into packaging alone and the minefield that is, if you try to go into that without any knowledge, it's
Yeah.
like, whoa. So this is like, I still don't, if someone was to quiz me on compostable, non-compostable, biodegradable, all the terms that are used in packaging alone,
Yeah,
I would fail miserably. We used a business called New Directions. They're in I'm Sydney based. They're in Marrickville, not far from where we live. They were the experts in that field. We lent on them. They consulted with us around how do we get everything from, the little calling cards that we have in there to say welcome to the family, to the actual mailers and all those sorts of things, to be plastic 100% plastic free. And without support and others, we wouldn't be able to do that either, because it is a minefield.
I think that's the key lesson there. It's ask questions. Curiosity is golden in this aspect. It's, don't be scared to ask for extra information, to investigate, to research, to ask friends. You never know what somebody else might guide you on or support you with. And I think you've done absolutely marvelously in that space. I think it's about, as business owners, it's about constantly evolving, right? So you do your best in the moment for what you can afford, for what you know. And then as soon as you learn more and as soon as you grow up as a business, you go, okay, well, how can I fix this problem? And how can I do this better? And what's the next thing? And I think that's the attitude we need to take on, not just as business owners, but as individuals navigating the world of sustainability. Because like you said, it's deeply overwhelming. And more often than not, it's a turnoff. You go, screw it, I don't want to do anything.
That's right.
And it's making it manageable, right?
That's right. A lot of people try to fix a problem and they'll hit a wall and they'll give up, and it becomes too much. And, you can even think about your own business. For us, we're a retailer, so we're relying on our labels to be doing the right thing as well. And so then you get them to be doing their packaging in a certain way and to meet your standards. But then, they're getting their clothes from overseas, and that comes on a plane, and it's like, oh my God, that's harmful to the environment as well. So like it's hard to get out of bed in the morning without doing the wrong thing to some degree in someone's eyes. So if we go by that, no one's going to do anything. So I think, you just got to do the best you can and try to do better than what the majority are.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And just each day, curious, like connect to that aspect of curiosity, ask questions, keep growing, keep evolving. And talk us through the range, right? Talk us through the products you've provided. What is it? Give us a little bit of insight so we can really understand this beautiful brand that you've created.
Yeah, okay. So from a range point of view, at the moment, we're focusing from 0 to 4 year olds. So that includes newborn all the way up to 4. We hope to be able to grow that in the coming months and years to a larger range of kids. But we definitely wanted to focus on that newborn 0 to 4 time. Like I said, when Sarah and I became parents, that those first, couple of years are just, eh, he's growing at, our son just grows at such a rapid pace. His clothes last 0 to 3 months, and then you're often buying him more. So we really wanted to kind of nail that on the head before we moved into other age groups, because we feel like that's when parents are the most time poor.
But can I bring awareness to something? Just like, that is literally the most pinnacle time. Like, I can't believe I didn't think about this before. And I'm so bloody happy you said something, because it's true. It's all single use in a way. Like, unless you're giving it to cousins or friends or someone with a newborn, and you're sort of upcycling that way, that's amazing too. But you're so right. Like 0 to 4, like these kids are growing every 2 seconds. So obviously you need to keep buying. And if you guys can, again, set that standard and produce things that at least are not going to harm the planet, or do the best you can at this time, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
incredible.
and you go and quiz a new parent or a first time parent in the first couple of years of their kid's life, and ask them where the environment and the planet sits in terms of the things going through their head. It realistically, it's probably pretty low. So to make it easier for parents at that time to shop with local businesses that are trying to do the right thing, I think was definitely what we wanted to nail on the head first.
Mm.
And then within that, we have a lot of gender neutral sort of items. We do have boys and girls, but we've got a lot of stuff that can work with both. We don't have a huge amount of pinks and blues. We do have pink and blue, but it's not all about boys wear blue dinosaurs and girls wear pink hearts. We've got a lot of neutral stuff that, as an adult, you probably wish we had in adult sizes. Probably the number one question we get asked
So
at the moment
stunning.
is, can we get that in adult sizes? That's really cool. Like, just awesome cardigans and just, yeah, stuff that I look at my son's wardrobe and think I need that in my life as well. We've got accessories as well. So under accessories, everything from shoes to locally produced organic sunscreen for kids that's made in regional New South Wales. We've got yeah, everything for that 0 to 4 range essentially, and we're constantly looking for new verticals that we can introduce across the site. But definitely our core is clothing 0 to 4.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I mean, honestly, like, you just, like, a light bulb went off in my head when you were talking. Like, it's so true. Like, again, I think to my brother and his children, it's the only reference I really have, obviously. But 3 kids, that's like a lot of, you accumulate a lot of crap. Like, it's a
Totally.
lot of stuff. And obviously, especially when there's a newborn involved, all the friends and all the family, especially if you come from a big sort of Eastern European family like me, everyone wants to, like, shower them and stuff. And if we can make it seamless so that even if those adults don't care about sustainability, that if they're shopping from you, they're doing the right thing anyway. Like,
Correct.
that's the bonus for me. Like, it's about connecting to the holistic consumer psychology that unfortunately not everyone cares. But they do care about the ease and the user experience. And, I'm a parent and I'm busy, and how quickly can I check in and check out?
Yeah.
Um, so I love that you've been thinking about that from such a holistic view.
and and just from an e-com point of view as well, where there's not many places in the clothing sector that you you can truly buy online with absolutely no worry for sizing, for how it looks, because generally
Yeah.
0 to 4, the kid doesn't care about how it looks. It's about the parent, and they pick something they like. You don't try on things for 0 to 4 in a store anyway. because you generally want to wash clothes before you put it on your newborn. And so from that point of view, it's a really great fit for e-com. We get very little returns. Most people, if they bought the wrong size, they bought it slightly bigger and the baby grows into it anyway. So from a business point of view, it's really good to focus on that 0 to 4 as well.
I think it's phenomenal. I think you guys are, you know, using your names and your platforms in such a beautiful way. And, you know, something I want to talk about a little bit with you is community, like the power of community. And I think between yourself and Sarah, like you've got such a wonderful following. You've obviously got, you know, something going on television. So you're already coming with an audience. And what I love and what I am inspired by with you guys is you use it for good, not for evil. And that's so important and that's so special because at the end of the day, change happens with community. That's how in a mass, you know, world, real change, real impact happens when a tribe, a group of people are all, you know, going for the same marvelous goals. And I just love that you're using your platform for something so inspiring. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about, you know, your journey of community and what it's been like to you know, get a response from, you know, obviously before Tomorrow Kids, you had maybe a different audience. How did they react? What's happening in that world?
Yeah, look, I think before joining a reality TV show, you always think about why you're going to do it and what's the motivator to do it and, you know, what are the risks in doing it. And, you know, for us, one of the big motivators were that we're an Australian Lebanese family. I think the Lebanese communities in Sydney specifically has had a lot of bad press. There's been a lot of stereotyping about what a Lebanese family looks like. And originally we jumped on because we wanted to give people insight into what a real Aussie Lebanese house looks like. And, you know, some of the comments we've had online have been like, wow, you know, you guys are just like us. Like, which is kind of
wow.
like a bit of a racist comment, but I think it in a positive way because people are like, okay. I was like, what did you think happened? Just, you know, I'm born here. I've lived my whole life in Australia and I'm really proud Australian. So, you know, I think from a community point of view, it was really nice to open up. I get a lot of joy from our following of people who aren't from the Lebanese community, who have really lent into us and have really taken on our culture and the things that we do. So from that point of view, before Tomorrow Kids, it's been really positive. And being on a show like Gogglebox, you know, it's a positive show. We are kind of a bit of a dipstick of the wider population of how we feel around certain topics. So I think we've got all of us have a really important part to play in terms of what we're saying on air is kind of people like, oh, that's how I feel about that situation. We're not all going crazy because sometimes in the press, all you see is the minority who think a certain way about a certain topic. So then, yeah, moving into Tomorrow Kids, it's been great to kind of take on a new community, and that's with the eco-conscious label and business community, and you know, meeting people like yourself, meeting Pearl from Resparkle, who we both did some work with recently. You know, we both joined a movement called, you know, it only takes a minute.com.
Yeah.
And that has been awesome. Like, you know, kudos to Pearl for starting that. I think that had a really important message, and I jumped at the opportunity to be part of that campaign because it talked to a lot of the things that I've just mentioned, because it's not about changing your whole life. It is about taking small steps and just doing one thing that takes 1 minute, you know. And since taking the pledge, Sarah and I have found new ways to do new things, and I haven't woken up and gone, you know what, this is just too hard. It felt doable, you know, from this morning going and get my coffee with your Soul Cups. Like, it's a great feeling to kind of just tick off another thing from the list and, you know, and have that good karma and not have that thing in the back of your head saying, oh God, these plastic lids are just killing the environment and this plastic is doing this. So it's been nice to have another community and to help us grow and learn from each other as well and support each other.
I mean, what does that show you, right? It's all mindset. At the end of the day, it's exactly what you said. You sort of found joy in your experience this morning. And that's what it needs to be about. It's like, why is there such a negative affiliation to doing the right thing? Like, why are
Mm,
people struggling to do simple things like use a
totally.
reusable cup? Like, it just, to me, it's baffling because it's like, I mean, I don't need to go into why we created Soul Cups. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But the point is that we can connect to people on a more aesthetic and superficial level. For people who love style but don't care about sustainability, at least they can use a product that they're really proud of and they're doing the right thing anyway. And then there's the people like us who really care and find joy in it. And that's all it is. It's changing your mindset. So I created a challenge, Matty, called No Cup, No Coffee. And I'm hoping you and Sarah can join the challenge where basically from now on, if you don't have your reusable cup, you can't have a takeaway coffee.
I love that.
So
And
it's a bit of accountability basically.
I love that. Yeah, I'm happy to join that challenge. I enjoyed my coffee out of my Soul Cup this morning, so I'm more than happy to take it on. So, um, it's a funny one because I've had a lot of people. I've obviously posted you guys a lot on my story today. Of people like, oh, the cafe's accepting them now, and are they not accepting them now? And that's a whole nother thing, right?
Hmm.
Um,
If you
you know,
watch back to one of the interviews I did a couple of weeks ago, I can't even remember which one now, but we actually talked about that topic. And I just want to say it again, it is no legal law in this country that reusables are not allowed to be accepted by cafes. It is a myth. It is not real. There is actually no law that exists in this country that says you can't do it. So if your cafe does not accept them, vote with your dollar. Don't go to that cafe, go to another one that does, or communicate to your barista or to the cafe owner that really they should be more mindful and create some solutions so that they can engage the community to think differently. Because there's so many solutions out there of how they can do it. So it's about using your voice and voting with your dollar as well.
yeah, and I was actually quite shocked about the amount of cafes that weren't happy to accept it because it from my view it saves them money on cups, um,
Literally.
and it's mind blowing. Like I had been to one cafe where they knocked me back as I was like cool, and I moved on to the next one. And look, I want to start by saying that the hospitality industry's had some really difficult times. So no judgment on them at the moment. I think it's more around education with those guys, but
Yeah.
the the power falls onto the consumer. As soon as the consumer just says, thank you, but no thank you, and I'm going to move to the next place, cafes who aren't accepting reusable cups will start to feel that and they'll quickly change. It's like
Exactly.
the consumer comes first, especially in Australia. Look at how we suffered for years with the taxi industry, and then Uber
Yeah.
came and put the consumer first and did some really simple things. And I can't remember the last time I caught a taxi because I felt like, still it's like post-traumatic stress disorder thinking about hopping in a taxi these days after
Yeah.
getting an Uber. So it's the exact same thing. We need to get the consumer to do the right thing and say, yep, no thanks, we're going to move to the next cafe, and the cafes will follow. But yeah, it's probably a difficult time for them to make change at the moment. They're probably worried about just getting their doors open in the next few weeks.
Look, it's a two-way street, right? I personally understand hospitality. I've been in the industry basically my whole life, right? And I understand what it means to actually operate. So my brother's company do fit outs, design, construction. Like we literally help them build. So like I get it. But at the end of the day, as a brand owner, like as a business owner, it is our responsibility to make the right conscious choice. That's why you created Tomorrow Kids. You consciously decided to do it. If me as an operator fails to do my civil duty and be sustainable, then it is the responsibility of the consumer to vote with their dollar. And it can come from a place of love and support. Like there's a community of cafes where I live, and it literally came down to me going to the owner and saying, hey mate, you know me, I'm a customer, I come here all the time. I've got a couple of ideas for you. If you don't want to do it, no drama, but if you're open to it, like here's some options. And they listened, and now they completely changed the way they operate for reusable cups in this time. And they didn't lose. they don't spend money on takeaway cups, and they have a plethora of a community of customers that absolutely adore it for them. So,
Awesome.
that it's coming from a place of love is basically what I'm trying to say, that we all
Yeah,
have a voice. We all have the ability to make impact in our community. And it just takes, it takes that little one thing, that one step, right?
that's right. And in that example, you provided them with some education they probably didn't know, as opposed to judgment,
Yeah.
and they had a much better outcome.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love what you guys are doing. I think the brand is so beautiful. I love your attitude. I love your drive to continue to create sustainably. I love your holistic approach to this wonderful, wonderful industry of, 0 to 4. You've definitely, lit a light bulb in my head, and it's something that I'm going to be sharing with everyone I know. But can you tell us, where can we find you? Where can we follow you?
Oh,
Give us the spiel, and I'll make sure we leave it in the comments as well.
thanks so much. It's www.tomorrowkids.com.au. I'm on Instagram. You can find us at Tomorrow Kids. It's spelled TMRW, so not tomorrow, the full word. And for the rest of this month and all of next month, everyone can use the discount code SOULCUPS and have 15% off everything across the store, as a thank you for having us. So thank you so much for taking me on today. It's been awesome chatting.
My absolute pleasure. I will make sure I put that in the comments. That is so incredibly generous. Matty, you are a legend. I'm such a big fan of yourself and Sarah. And I just hope you guys have the most amazing rest of Plastic Free July. And please stay connected. Anything you need, we are here to support you.
Thank you. So good to chat and so good to see another human. Can't wait for it to be face to face next time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.